How do brands like Nordstrom, SKIMS, and Lady Gaga launch global campaigns in minutes? It's not just about going headless, it's about taking a fundamentally different approach to their architecture. And you'll get a glimpse of why these brands rely on Sanity as we launch a new product campaign, from making modifications to the homepage and across the site, translating it with AI, and releasing it all at once and on time. Here are the various steps that we're going to take to get there. First, we're going to upload some lifestyle imagery. Then we're going to create a release so we can make changes across the website, bundle them all together, and publish them simultaneously. We're going to enrich a product that we got from our commerce engine, launch a campaign that we're going to reuse throughout our website, including on the homepage, in a new article, and we'll use a really cool workflow to add this article to our site. And then we're going to translate it with AI. And at the end, we will schedule all of this content to go out at once. Let's dive in by uploading our assets and switching over to the Sanity dashboard. From here on the left-hand side, I'm going to go to Media Library, the centralized place to manage my organization's assets. Let's upload these assets. They're good to go. Now I can select them and select multiple of them and add some business context to them. For these, I'm going to add an image license and say that this is my exclusive license. I'm allowed to use it in the US and on digital social media. And I can set an expiration date so I don't risk using these images past the license expiration date. I could even reference content in my content system. So if I want to reference the photo shoot that these were a part of and maybe grab a model that's shown in these images, I can do that as well. Now let's publish them. We've uploaded the assets to our media library, added some business context. Now let's create a release. Heading back over to Sanity, I'm going to switch to another app here called Sanity Studio. This is the admin interface that we'll make most of our content changes in. And at the top, I'm going to go up here and create a new release. Here, we're going to be launching our new bike, the S600. And now I'm going to create this release. And now we can see that I'm in my S600 drop content release. As I make changes across the studio, they're all going to get bundled together in that release, starting with enriching the product. Heading back over to Sanity Studio. Now this version of Studio is what my editors work in. This entire interface is configurable. And so what I'm going to do is switch over to a different version of Studio as a developer, as I want to make some configuration changes to this for demo purposes. Now the first thing I'm going to do is go up to my releases and navigate to that S600 drop. Note, I don't need to refresh. Everything changes in real time. So if editors are working on Sanity Studio, you're able to see those changes reflect in real time. And I'm going to navigate to my S600 bike. Here's my bike, and my PIM automatically syncs it as hidden as it's a new product. So I'm going to add this to a release. And now I'm going to make changes to it. We're going to unhide it. We'll tag this with new, and all of these fields are entirely customizable. You can add whatever you want here. We can reference other content. So for product materials, for example, I want to reference my carbon fiber document. And this document is separate. So if I were to click into here, I could always make changes to this carbon fiber document in the future, and anywhere that I reference it will always get the latest information. But for right now, I'm going to stop making changes to this product, though I do notice there's a lot of fields right here, and it's kind of cumbersome to scroll through them all and look for the exact field I want to edit. So I'm going to make my first configuration change off screen and in code, and I'm going to add field groups. We'll notice the screen refresh. And when it comes back, we now have these nice groups at the top. So if I just want to jump in and see what did my commerce engine send over, I can get to those fields right here. Or if I know that I want to modify the SEO fields, boom, I'm in those fields and I can skip all of the scrolling. Okay, so we've modified the product that we received from our PIM and added it to the release. So any of those changes aren't live yet. They're waiting for the release to go out. Now let's create a campaign that we're going to be able to reuse throughout our website. Heading back over to Sanity Studio and back to my document list here, I am going to go to my CTAs and create a new one. I just filled out some information, but it's time to add the CTA link. Here, I'm going to search for my S600 bike and link to it. Now, the importance of this is because this is a reference, I can always change the information about the bike later, and that information will always stay present. So I don't have to worry about broken links if I were to change my slug of the bike, for example. Now I need to add some media to this, and I'm going to click select. This is going to bring me all of my assets that are in media library that match my specific filter criteria. And we could filter more here. So by the aspect, and for example, grab the photo shoot or the image license. But for right now, I know that I want to have a red bike shown here. So I'm going to search for red bike. And I'm going to grab this one. Now, this is really notable because nowhere in the title or in the aspects or in the metadata does it say red bike. Upon uploading my images to Media Library, AI automatically extracts all the context from it so we can search by that context. So we don't need to worry about titling things or naming files to include our keywords. We can just search by red bike, and here we go. I found what I'm looking for. So I'm going to select this. And as I scroll down, we're going to keep an eye on the alt text field as we have an AI automation analyze the image and then fill out the alt text. So I don't need to worry about doing this manually or forgetting to do it at all. Okay, we've added this campaign and we haven't really done anything with it yet, but we're going to as we're going to bring it in on the home page. So let's head back over to Sanity Studio and navigate to our pages, home page. And now we're going to add this to the release so we can make changes to it. And now it's in the release. And real quick, let's just check in on this release by clicking on the release itself. And we'll see what we've done so far. We've modified our product document, we've added a CTA, and we've changed the home page. So we can see that these are the changes that are so far getting added to it. We've got much more to go. And we can even see real-time indicators in here. Like I can see that Tom Smith is editing this document right now. Let's head back to our homepage. We can click into it here. And now we're going to make some modifications. First, we're going to modify the hero, but I don't like that if I were to modify this, I don't really get to see what it looks like. So we're going to jump into presentation mode by clicking here. And now we're going to get a preview of our site on the left-hand side and be able to edit it on the right-hand side. Excellent. We can even interact with our site on the left. So I want to change this title. I can click it and it'll automatically pull up the form on the right. And now again, we're going to navigate to our media library by selecting a new image. And for this, I do want to filter by my aspect. And these aspects, they're defined in code and they're custom to your business. So for me, I wanted to have an image license with these fields, but for you, you can add whatever fields and aspects that you want. And I just want to make sure I have the permitted use to use this on digital. And there we go. Let's grab this bike here. Okay, I've added it, but I don't like that I can't see the bike itself or the person's getting a little bit cropped here. And let's see what happens if I switch down to mobile. Same thing, it's not ideal. Now, if I were to click on the image right now, nothing were to happen, but we are going to make our second configuration change off screen here, and we'll see the screen refresh. And this is called focal point. So now when I navigate back to my hero and to that image and click it, I have the option to crop this image. So we'll just bring it in and have the person here. But then also I can set the focal point, and let me scroll down a little bit so we can see how this may get rendered across the site. And so we can make this, look as good as we can for the different screen sizes and aspect ratios. Okay, now the bike is in view, and I'm going to be good with that for this demo. Now, as I scroll down, I have this section called Hot Looks that let me shop the products in my image. So I can hover over this jacket, for example, and be able to shop that image. Let's add a new one right now for our bike by heading over to our Hot Looks block here and adding a new one. Now here, these are separate documents and I haven't created one yet, but I don't need to switch tabs to go create it. I can just create it on the fly right here. And we'll call this S600 on the road. We'll grab an image. We'll select this one from our media library. Alt text automatically gets generated, and now we can click on the various products in the image and reference them. So I'm going to add a few different products here. We'll do these 2 for demo purposes. And now I can go down here and search my products like we've done before. So all of this time, we're referencing a product that is defined just one time. And that way, if I ever need to make changes to this product, which is inevitable, those changes will syndicate throughout my site. Okay, I'm good with that, but if we head back over to our site, we're going to see that there is an error here. And if we hover over it, it'll say, please select 5 shop the look documents. And we have too many. No worries, I'll get rid of one. But this is good to see because these validation rules are very customizable to our business. Because they're defined in code, you can be incredibly granular on the type of governance you want to put on these documents and enforce editors too. In this case, it's just making sure that there are 5 in here, but you can do conditional logic and base it on what's going on in other fields or the content that's in the current field. There's endless possibilities with it. But heading back over to the site, when I navigate this site right now, I'm navigating more of Sanity Studio with these outlines. I'm going to turn off edit mode so I can interact with the actual site and be able to click on these arrows. And here we go. Here is my hot look, and I can hover over this, and we can see our helmet, and now our S600, and shop it right here. There is just one more change to make to our homepage. This CTA is outdated. We need to update this to our S600 drop. So I am going to go down to my block right here, and I have the use existing CTA checked. That way I can replace this with my S600 drop, and then we'll see the left-hand side refresh. And here it is. I've got the CTA that we've defined before, the bike, the copy, the link and all of that. So it's all defined once and I don't need to worry about repeating myself. And that's it for our homepage changes. We've added various blocks. We've opened our site in presentation mode so we can preview what our changes are actually going to look like prior to going live. But now let's add an article using a process that is pretty unique to Sanity. Heading back over to Sanity, we are now going to navigate to Canvas. This is the freeform writing app. It's kind of like Google Docs or Notion where you can go in here, use the slash command, add headings and all that. But there's more we can do with it. I'm about done writing this, but I just want to add my slug. We'll say that the S600 is here. And now that I'm done writing this, normally the process would be I have to copy my title, go over to Studio, paste it in, copy the body, hope that no formatting issues are occurring, no human error, all that bad stuff. But I am going to bypass that by using automatic mapping. I'm going to select my article content type and say start mapping. And now what we'll see is AI is running through all the content and it knows all of our schema and it's going to map the content to our schema. It's done mapping, and now I'm just going to verify that I like the mappings it chose. I can expand the title, see, the slug is mapped here, and so forth. I could also change any of the content mappings too. If for whatever reason it got something wrong, I can go in here and say, no, I don't want this to be my body. I'm going to make one more change. Now that it's connected to my article, I can add a reference and say, I want to reference my author. And as I make changes to my content, AI has automatically analyzed it, mapped it to my studio, and we can see it properly mapped it to my author field. Okay, now I'm ready to actually create this document in Studio. So we're going to click Create the Document, and now we're going to open it. Now this has saved me a lot of time and has reduced errors. I noticed that it mapped directly to draft, so I'm just going to move this over to my S600 drop. Great, now it's in here. Now we're going to modify the article body field to demo how great of storytelling we can add to this. So this entire editor is configurable. One of the things that we've done is we've added the ability to not just link out to this product, but add a product reference. This is going to look really cool on the front end. So let's add the S600 product link here. Let's full screen this editor. And now I'm going to switch over to my other tab and we'll see, I'll full screen this as well, that I have a cursor showing where I'm at in the other tab. So you can imagine that these are two different people working on this content at the same time. Not only can they work on the same document at the same time, they can work in the same field at the same time without any conflicts or lock icons waiting to have the other person finish before you can dive in. No, everybody can work on the same content at the same time. And I'll just demo this right now. If I were to just type ASDF and switch tabs, we'll see that I have ASDF written over here with my presence indicator. Okay, now I want to open presentation mode because we're going to make some really cool changes to our body that's going to improve the storytelling and engagement we're going to get from our visitors. Now, as I scroll down here, we'll see that instead of just having a boring link, I have a Wikipedia style hover card. So I actually get context about what is referenced right here. And in this case, I'm pulling in some product details and still the ability to navigate to the S600. Now, this inline annotation is really nice, but let's add some custom blocks. I'm going to go down here and add a bento grid from a collection of mine. Now, this block is entirely custom to me. I've added specific fields to this. You could add whatever you want. If you want to add collections, products, so you can reference individual products, the choice is yours. But I'm going to select this summer sale collection bento, scroll down, and now I'll see that I have a grid of products right here from this collection. Of course, I'm not manually defining the price or the title or anything like that. All of this is referenced from the source, so I can make changes to this collection and it'll syndicate to here. Now, we also want to add our CTA, but instead of just saying like buy the S600 now, and that's going to be really boring and people will probably miss it, I'm going to add my custom CTA block. In here, I'm going to reference that S600 drop. And I'll scroll to the bottom and we'll see that this will get injected and it looks very familiar. It's that same image, that same title, the same copy that we've defined previously. Okay, I'm happy with this article, so we're going to check this off, but we don't just serve an English audience, we serve many different markets. So now we need to translate this content with AI. Heading back over to my Sanity dashboard, we looked at Canvas, the freeform writing app that automatically maps to Sanity Studio. We've seen another app, Media Library, that centralized place to manage our organization's assets. And we've seen Sanity Studio, that admin interface where we'll do most of our content editing. And while Sanity Studio is entirely configurable with code, sometimes we need more bespoke ways of managing our content. And in this case, we want a way to manage our translations at scale in a very specific workflow. So that's why this organization has created a custom app, the Translations Dashboard, using the app SDK from Sanity. This provides the building blocks to quickly spin up these use case specific content apps and deploy them directly to the Sanity dashboard. So in this app, I'm currently filtered by my article content type. And here I have a list of articles and the various locales that they have or have not been translated to. So for my S600 bike, I can see that the red means that it has not been translated there yet. Yellow is saying that it's a fallback for this, but I want to create translations for all of these different languages. So I'm going to select it. And instead of just going straight to production, my published state with this, I'm going to change this and say, I want them to all go into my S600 drop. That way I can review them, I can make changes, but also I want them to all go out at the same time. And now I'm going to click Translate All. And now what's happening, there's Sanity agent actions running in the background. Agent actions are ways to define AI automations in code, including translating content. And you can put a bunch of rules in there so that the translations follow your style guide, for example. And it looks like they are wrapping up. And we could open one of these to verify that the translation was successful. I'm going to open in Studio. And we can scroll down and see that our content has been translated. Now, for this demo, we are only going to translate the article, but we can easily extend that to translate all of the different content in this release. Speaking of which, it is time to release this content, or at least schedule it. So I'm going to head back over to Sanity and go up to my releases and my S600 drop. And now let's go to the overview of that. And we could see that we have a list of documents that have been added. These are all the translation articles. We've modified our product. We've added a CTA. We've added the shop the look document. We've made so many changes across our site. And I'll note too, while we didn't do this, we can remove documents as a part of the release. So if you want something unpublished, you can do that. We have two options right now. We can manually click run release, which would release all of this content right now, or we can schedule it, which I'm going to do by going to the three dots and saying schedule release. And here, this needs to go out on exactly the 24th at 8 a.m. So I can set that and now click yes, schedule. Now this is going to get queued up and it's already done. So it'll automatically go out at this time. And I didn't note too that if there was any validation errors across any of these documents, we would not be able to schedule this yet. We would have to fix them all first. And we can stack releases, maybe one for Black Friday, another one for Cyber Monday, and so forth. So we can get it all planned ahead of time, scheduled, and ready to go. So we've made a lot of changes across our site, added them to the release, and scheduled the release. Now, to recap, first we went to Media Library, the centralized place to manage our organization's assets like images, files, and videos. We've added our business context to those images. Then we switched over to Sanity Studio, the entirely configurable admin interface where we'll do most of our content editing. And in there, we created a release. That way we can make changes to the homepage, to the article, to the CTAs. We added stuff, we modified stuff, we could remove other documents as well. And they were all a part of that release. Then we switched over to our custom built app using the Sanity App SDK, which provided us a very bespoke interface for managing translations. The actual translations were done using the Sanity agent actions. And then finally, we saw all of our content in that release and was able to schedule it so it goes out on time. Now, when we ask ourselves, how do those companies like SKIMS, Lady Gaga, Tecovas, Nordstrom launch these global campaigns in minutes and scale without scaling headcount? You can see the Sanity Content Operating System is the answer. Now, we looked at how to launch this product and make changes across the operating system, but if you want to get more details on how those companies I mentioned are modeling their data, for example, or handling images, then check out this link where I have a guide that goes over code snippets and architecture diagrams from these brands. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.